Ascend and awaken, a life of balance. Welcome to Ascend and Awaken. You've heard it a million times, right? Just let go of the past. But it never works, does it? You can't just delete a memory, unlive the pain, or pretend the betrayal didn't happen. That advice feels impossible because, well, it is. But what if forgetting was never the goal? What if the past, all by itself, is completely powerless? Here's the truth. The past has no power over you that you don't give it, and you give it power through the painful judgments you hold. The story you keep replaying, the verdict you've passed on someone or yourself, that's the engine keeping the pain alive, right here in the present. In this video, I'm going to share 3 simple but profound steps based on the powerful teachings of A Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery to undo those judgments and finally release the grip of the past. This isn't about forgetting, it's about becoming free. The deeper problem, the prison of projection. So why is "just let it go" such terrible advice? Because it's asking you to fight a ghost. The past isn't a thing. It doesn't exist anywhere except in your mind. It's just a collection of memories, and most importantly, the meanings you've attached to them. Imagine you have a recording of a really painful conversation. The conversation is over. It happened once, but you keep this little device in your pocket, and every few hours you press play. You listen to it all over again, feeling the same anger, the same sadness, the same sting. Is it the original conversation that's hurting you now, or is it your decision to keep replaying it? This is exactly what we do in our minds. The event is done. The curtain closed. But we keep the story on a constant loop. The spiritual teachings of A Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery call this projection. The idea is simple but radical. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. We take the unresolved junk inside of us, our own guilt, fear, and insecurities, and we project it onto people and situations, especially those from our past. The reason you feel so stuck is that every time you remember that person or that event, you're not just remembering a fact. You are reactivating a judgment. He abandoned me. I failed. They wronged me. Each time you think that, you pour fresh, present moment energy into an old wound. The pain you feel now isn't from the past. It's from the judgment you're holding in the present. The key to getting out of this prison isn't to break down the walls of the past. It's to realize you've been holding the key the entire time. You have the power to stop projecting, heal the judgment, and completely change your relationship with that memory. This is how you take your power back. The 3-step solution. So, how do we actually do this? How do we go from just talking about it to feeling truly free? It all comes down to a 3-step practice, which is really a distillation of the core teachings on forgiveness from these powerful spiritual texts. Step 1. Acknowledge the judgment, the what. The first step is about radical, compassionate honesty. You can't heal what you refuse to look at. We get so caught up in the facts of what happened that we totally miss the story we're telling ourselves about it. I want you to bring to mind a past event or a person that still has a charge for you. Something that, when you think about it, you feel that tightness in your chest, a little sadness, or a flash of anger. Now, look beyond the event itself. What's the specific judgment you're holding? What's the headline of that story? It might be something like, "He was selfish and betrayed me. She was irresponsible, and it cost me everything. I'm a failure because that business didn't work out. They should have known better." These feel like facts, don't they? But they aren't. They are judgments. They are interpretations you've layered on top of a neutral event. A Course in Miracles calls this a grievance. It's the charge, the verdict, that keeps you chained to the memory. The event happened, but the judgment is what you're choosing to carry. The only goal here is to see it clearly. Don't shame yourself or judge yourself for having the judgment. Just become aware. Notice the heavy story you've been carrying and say, "Ah, there it is. That's the judgment. That's the story that's been causing all this pain." This awareness is the first crack of light. By the way, if this is already resonating with you, a quick tap on the like button really helps this message reach more people who need it. Thank you for that. Step 2. Choose again. The how. Once you've clearly seen the painful judgment, you arrive at a pivotal moment. This is the heart of the whole process. You're at a choice point. You can keep believing the ego story of blame and separation, or you can open yourself to a new way of seeing things, one of peace. This is where we introduce the concept of true forgiveness. Now, this is so important. The forgiveness taught in A Course in Miracles has nothing to do with condoning bad behavior. It's not about saying, "What you did was okay." It is not for the other person. It is 100% for you. True forgiveness is about recognizing that the sin you thought someone committed against you, the story of permanent damage your ego created, is an illusion. This doesn't mean the event didn't physically happen. It means that the story that they stole your peace or ruined your life is false. Your judgment did that. Ultimately, it's about forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for using that person or event to prove a painful belief you had about yourself or the world. You don't have to force this. You don't have to pretend you suddenly see them as a saint. The choice is much quieter. It's simply a decision to be willing. You can just say to yourself, "I see this judgment I've been holding. I see the pain it's causing me. I am willing to see this differently. I am willing to choose peace instead of this." That simple act of willingness is everything. It's like opening a locked door just a crack. You don't have to kick it down. You just have to be willing to let a little light in. The rest will follow. Step 3. Release the story, the action. Willingness opens the door, but this third step is how you walk through it day by day. Those old, painful thought patterns are like deep grooves in your mind. That judgmental story is a well-worn path. It's going to pop up again. The goal isn't to stop the thought from ever coming back. The goal is to have a new response when it does. This is the active practice that the Way of Mastery talks about, forgiving 70 times 7 times. It's a commitment to gently and consistently dropping the story every single time you notice you've picked it back up. Here's a simple technique. The next time the memory and its judgment surface, you do this. First, just acknowledge it without fighting it. "Ah, there's that story again. The story of how I was wronged." Second, reaffirm your new choice. "I remember that I've chosen peace instead of this." And third, you actively release it with a simple phrase. You can use your own words, but it might be something like, "I release you from this story. I release myself from this story. I choose peace now." Imagine that judgmental thought is a heavy rock you've been carrying in your backpack for years. Every so often, you unconsciously reach back, grab it, and feel its weight. This practice is the act of consciously noticing the rock in your hand, saying, "Oh, this thing again," and gently setting it down on the side of the road. You might have to do it 100 times a day, but each time you set it down, you walk a little lighter. Each time, you strengthen the new mental pathway of peace. Over time, the old path of judgment gets overgrown from not being used, and the new path of release becomes your default. This is how real, lasting change happens. Not in one big, dramatic moment of forgetting, but in 1,000 small moments of choosing peace. This 3-step process, acknowledge the judgment, choose again, and release the story, isn't a magic wand. It's a practice. It's a spiritual muscle that you develop over time. Let's quickly recap. 1. Acknowledge the judgment. Look past the event and name the painful story you're holding on to. Choose again. Simply become willing to see it differently. Open your mind to forgiveness, to choose peace over being right. Release the story. Every time the old thought comes up, gently notice it and let it go, recommitting to your choice for peace. You now have a real tool. You are no longer a helpless victim of your past. The power has always been in your mind, right here in the present moment. By changing your mind about the past, you free your present from its chains and open up a future that isn't just a repeat of what happened before. You are the creator of your experience. Now, I would love to hear from you. What was your biggest aha moment from this? What judgment are you willing to start looking at today? Share it in the comments below. Your insight could be the very thing someone else needs to read to have their own breakthrough. And if you want to go deeper with these principles and learn more practical ways to reclaim your peace, subscribe to Ascend and Awaken, a life of balance. For insights from timeless spiritual and philosophical teachers, peace, love, and light to you on your continual spiritual journey. Ascend and Awaken, a life of balance.